great word. And I think one of the things that I really got from this word is I know that this year has been a hard year for you guys. I mean, all the time you were in Lusaka doing the King of Kings event. You were out of your comfort zone. And you know, somehow you found a place in God where at the end of the year, you are even more encouraged than with what you started off in the beginning. And that kind of ties into a word that I got during worship this morning about in our various circumstances that you may find yourself in. You know, we look at the world and we realize that it does not look like God is winning. It doesn't look like the kingdom of God is being established all across the earth. And the reason I believe why that is because we have made the gospel cheap and said that if everything goes well with you, you're in the will of God. When Jesus said, if you want to share in my glory, you will also share in my sufferings. And Jesus suffered under the circumstances that was created by people exercising their own free will. People make free will choices that impact us every single day of our lives. The difficulty that we have in this life is not God's will, because people with their own free will choices make decisions and it affects us. And so we have to find a way where we can establish the kingdom of God in the midst of those difficult circumstances. Yeah. And so my question is to you, is Jesus the Lord of your life? Because this is how a kingdom operates. A kingdom is only established where the people do the will of their king. Yeah. If people are not doing the will of the king, then his kingdom does not reach there. Yeah. So for the kingdom of God to reach, his will has to be done in our lives. Yeah. So now we have to take that into the practical application of our challenges throughout the year. Ask yourself, Lord, what will it look like for you to be the Lord in my life in this circumstance, in this difficulty? Because the Lord doesn't cause all these difficult things that happen to us. He doesn't cause them to happen. People's free will choices happen. Most of this world are doing their own thing and it affects all of us. Yeah. But how can he establish his kingdom in the midst of the world where the majority of the people make their own silly free will choices and it affects us? It is when you submit to God in those circumstances. I'm not saying you submit to the circumstances. I'm saying that you believe that God is over the circumstances, which means whatever heat comes from your circumstances, you allow God to use that to purify you. Yeah. To say to the Lord, this is a difficult circumstance. How do you want to show up in my life in this difficulty? How do I make you Lord when I'm going through something that I don't enjoy? And the question is, if you don't do that, is he really the Lord of your life? Or if you are, then your life will be focused on your comfort, on how easy things are. If Jesus is your Lord, then your focus is according to his purpose for your life, that you will be conformed to the image of Christ. Yeah. So God can use every single circumstance for your good. If you love him, and you're all about his purposes. That's Romans 8:28. So we want God to make all things work out for our good. Well, my question is, are you making him the Lord of your life in those circumstances? Yeah. So that he can turn it out for your good. So I just wanted to give an encouragement to you. You know, thank you, Joanne, for your message. You know, I always enjoy listening to her because she's always pushing her relationship with God to the next level by holding herself accountable for the decisions that she makes during the year. And I'm so impressed to see, knowing, you know, this is a hard year in terms of inconvenience. This was really a year of inconvenience for you and Jason. but you went through it, and at the end of the year, you are better for it. I wish that we could all say that the difficulties, circumstances bring into our life, that we have made Jesus the Lord of our lives in those circumstances, and that we are better for it. Because we are supposed to be transformed into His likeness from one degree of glory to the next. And that means a revelation of who He is.
Yeah.
And for that, we need hope. We need to see Jesus in every circumstance, because hope is an expectation of a favorable outcome. If you think you're under the circumstances, you are hopeless. You have lost your hope. You do not expect a favorable outcome. But if you define a favorable outcome by convenience or by things being easy, then you won't see it. But if your favorable outcome is you being conformed to the image of Christ, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And that is always God's will in every situation. He doesn't cause it, but He will make it work out for your good.